All right. My name is Deane Cheatham. This is Infinity Training. I apologize for any technical difficulties. I'm having to do this from the Twin Hickory office. And as you probably know, Twin Hickory is still in the Stone Ages when it comes to technology. So, unlike our fabulous Ashland operation. So what we're going to talk about now is how to take it from becoming, how to shift your business into being a listing agent. It is somewhat of a challenging undertaking to do it. We're not going to figure out all of the answers now. This is going to be the first in a long series on Wednesdays of talking about listings, because if you are in the real estate business right now and you look out around the world, the listings that go on the market that are priced right sell. So I think it would behoove anyone who is selling real estate to think about upping their game when it comes to listings. And so we want to help you with that, and this will be the start of that. So let's talk a little bit about how when you first get in the business, the natural progression is you start out as a buyer's agent. Why is that? Because it's easier to find buyers than it is to find sellers. Buyers are looking for somebody, maybe this is not the entire thing about being a buyer's agent. In fact, it's definitely not. But really, to the public, the buyer's agent is somebody who can open the door to the house. It is somebody who can send them some listings on the computer and then maybe negotiate the deal and do whatever else. But it's not perceived as complicated and requiring as much expertise as would be the listing agent. I would think we might all agree with that. So thinking, how then do we, especially if we're new, and I know a number of you that will be watching this are new agents, how then do we convey the expertise, the experience to the clients to make them be inclined to consider us as a listing agent? Well, there's a number of things we have to do. The first thing you have to do, I think you got to change your mindset in the fact that, all the resources are here for you. It's doing taking a listing is not like rocket science. I mean, it's different than being a buyer's agent, but anyone can do it. The resources, the help, everything is here at Hometown to help you do that. So understand that and allow that to give yourself some confidence. One of the things that I did when I first started the business, I knew that I didn't know anything about taking a listing. So the first couple listings that I took, I brought Rodney Chenault along, I brought Mike Chenault along, and I split the deals with them. But it enabled me to gain experience. It enabled me to feel comfortable that I was not going to screw anything up because I had, an experienced agent with me. Did it cost me a little bit of money? Sure, I paid them half of the commission to help me with it. But I was able to get something rather than nothing, and we did a good job, and it turned out to be referrals down the line from those people, and it really got me some momentum in the business. So think about that as a way to help you gain confidence. And what I mean by going out, reaching out to experienced agent, bring them in, share the deal with them, pick up the knowledge and expertise, and then you're ready to go. So why should someone list with you? All right, that's a question that you need to be able to answer. In order to shift from sort of being a buyer's agent into being a listing agent, why should someone list with you? You need to have answers to that question, confident answers to that question. Another one is, what makes you different than the 5,000 agents that are members of the Richmond Association of Realtors? Why would somebody want to do it? What do you bring to the table? And if you can't answer that question, then they're not going to certainly have the confidence to work with you. So you need to sit down, take some time, and come up with some potential answers to that. So the way you get leads and listing leads are really not much different than how you'd get buyer leads. I mean, you can prospect a variety of different ways. You could hold open houses, you could call on the phone, you could work through your center of influence, you could call for sale by owners, you could door knock, you could do all sorts of different things, advertise, whatever it might be. So the way you get these leads is really the same, but how do you close the leads? That's the difference, okay? And in order to become a relatively frequent listing agent, you have to be able to close the listing leads that you have versus them close the door on you. So one way to make sure that they're going to work with you is if you have solid referrals from your center of influence. You know, somebody who is just going to put it out there and give you such a great referral that the people are very inclined to list with you. And the other way is when you actually meet with these people and you talk with these people that are the listing prospects, that you blow them away with your skills, your mindset, your confidence, and your professionalism. So I wrote down, you know, some things to key on when you have that opportunity to present. What needs to be in your presentation? And one of the things we're going to do here in the next few weeks is we're going to see a variety of people give their listing presentations to you so you can help sharpen your listing presentation. But this will be some things to think about in advance of watching somebody else. All right, the first thing is you've got to have some kind of organized listing presentation. If you don't have a listing presentation that is somewhat scripted, is a word I know most of us don't like, but somewhat organized and prepared, then they're going to see right through you. Okay, you have to have your materials need to look professional, they need to be organized, and your presentation needs to be in a questions-based format versus you just telling people what's going to happen. You understand that, and I've said this before, the definition of selling is not telling. The definition of selling is asking a series of questions that leads the client to the desired result. And in this case, the desired result would be listing the house with you so that you can get it sold with the best terms and the highest price for the client. So you have to have those organized materials. You could go around the office and say, hey, when you go on a listing, what do you take with you? And see what people say, see what people show you. There's not one specific answer that is for everybody, but you can see what other people are doing. The next one is you got to be able to handle objections. One of the easy ways to just get your teeth kicked in on a listing appointment is not being prepared to handle objections. Will you list it for free? You know, we want to list it high and come down later. All those objections. We're going to interview other agents. We have a friend in the business. All those things that might come up at the listing, you have to be prepared to handle that. Because if you're not prepared, you're not going to be confident. You're going to give the impression of being scared. And without that confidence, people don't want to work with you. Okay? So you have to be able to handle at least the common objections. All right? The next one, you got to convey professionalism. How do you look? How do you sound? How do you act? Do you exude confidence and professionalism? If you don't, then it's going to be hard for people to want to work with you. You know, I'm a fairly old school, conservative kind of guy, and I think, you know, for a man to be dressed sort of as I am, to have a tie and a collared shirt, I guess a tie doesn't go very well with any other kind of shirt, but you know, you're better to look more professional than to look less professional when you're trying to earn the confidence of potential sellers. So you got to convey professionalism. You have to convey confidence. You need to sound like you know what you're talking about. And how you do that is maybe you actually do know what you're talking about. Maybe you've done the research, you've done the preparation, you've practiced versus this, you know, you're just taking a whack at it. So you have to have some confidence. I use the example all the time. So if you're at the doctor's office and some dude comes in with like a leather vest and you know, cut off blue jeans and says, all right, well, drop your pants, let's start the exam, you're going to say, whoa, wait a minute, let me see your medical degree, let me, you know, who are you, whatever else, let me see your credentials. Versus somebody who comes in, if they look the part, if they have a stethoscope and a lab coat and they're neatly put together, then you're probably going to just go with it. You're not going to, but who knows who they are. So especially if you're new, if you look the part, if you act the part, if you look confident, sound confident, firm handshake, all that kind of stuff, then people are going to assume you know what the heck you're talking about. We're not trying to fool anybody, right? We're going to do a good job. We have all the resources we need to do a good job, but we need to be the one that they choose so that we can demonstrate how good of a job we can do. So you can convey that confidence. You can exude that confidence and professionalism, even if you don't really know all the answers to everything. Okay, next thing you need to do is demonstrate market knowledge. you've got to, in order to shift into being a listing agent, you got to know the market, right? You have to research what's going on. You have to have seen what's happening with comparable sales and the trends in the marketplace. And you can do that two ways. You can research MLS, and you can go and preview property. I suggest doing both. All right. Know the numbers. All right. The next thing you have to have is a what I call a service plan, or some people call a marketing plan. What are you going to do? When I hire you, what are you going to do to get my house sold? Okay, that's what they want. They're not hiring you just to be their buddy. They're hiring you to get their house sold. What are you going to do? All right, so you need to have a detailed marketing plan. Maybe you go around the office and ask, hey, do you have a marketing plan? Can I take a look at it? Can you give me some ideas of what might be on your marketing plan, et cetera? And if you need me to share something with you on that, just text me at 244-1022 with your email address, and I'll send you that. But there's my marketing plan might be different than your marketing plan, but you need to have something. All right. Next thing I wrote down is tell the truth. You have to be willing to tell the truth to the client about the price, about how long it's going to take, you think, to sell the house, about what it looks like. A lot of times you go into a house, it's not ready to sell, even if they think it is, because the staging is poor, it's too cluttered, they need to repaint, they've got repairs that need to be done. And if they're not willing to do that, you need to be honest with them about how that is going to affect the price. All right. The next one is be prepared to walk away. All right, when you go into a listing appointment, the common thing that new agents want to do is just, they're so excited about having a listing and putting that sign in the ground, which is awesome. But what's the worst thing that happens is if it doesn't sell, then the seller is going to wind up turning on you. The love that you're feeling at the listing appointment is going to go away. And next thing you know, they hate you. And when they hate you, then they're telling everybody how bad you are. And that's going to hurt your business. Not just that you didn't sell this house, but all the future houses that you're not going to be able to sell because people are like, they can't deal with you. So you got to be prepared to just walk away. If it's not going to work, if they're not realistic, if the house is not going to sell and they can't, it's a mission impossible, then you got to be willing to walk away. I wrote down this word too, unexpected extras. And I guess this more goes with the marketing plan or the service plan, but how do you convey unexpected extras? What are the unexpected extras that you're going to give to the, if you've been in the business a while, maybe give some examples of things that you've done where you've gone above and beyond to help your clients. A good example, something that I did recently. So the people had moved already. They did not exactly get the grass cut. So the grass is like knee high. The buyers are freaking out. They're not going to close. If they don't close, there's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem with my people buying their new house in Georgia. So I went over there and cut the grass. Okay. I'm not a professional lawn guy, but me going over there and doing that enabled everything to move forward. And they sincerely appreciated that. If you've done stuff like that, and that's just one example, but if you've done stuff like that, let people know that when they hire you, it's not just the contract and the sign in the yard and the lockbox. It's somebody who's got their back. That's what people are looking for, the unexpected extras. And lastly, and there may be other things with your presentation, but lastly, you got to be able to close. One of the huge mistakes I made early on in my career was I would go on listing appointments and I wouldn't really ever ask for the business. I would do my thing and then I would just like walk out. Well, if they have you over to talk about selling their house, they probably want to sell it, and they're going to expect that you might ask for it. So, you don't have to be, press hard 3 copies kind of hard closer, but you might say something like, so, Mr. and Miss Jones, do you feel like I can sell your house? I like smiling and nodding like this. Do you feel I can sell your house? And they'll say, if they say no, then I guess I'm saying, well, gee, never had anybody say that. But if they say, well, yeah, we really do, then say, well, all right, well, let's do the right thing and let's go ahead and get the paperwork straight so we can get you to the West End or to Florida or wherever you need to be in the time you want. Won't that be great? So there's some subtle and less harsh closes that you can use that don't make people feel like you're pushy, and yet you're still going to get the business. Because what happens if you walk out? If you walk out, there's a good chance that somebody else walks in and you have less chance of getting the listing. So don't be afraid to close. The last thing I would like to say, as far as laying the groundwork to shift from buyers and sellers, and this really works in your entire business, but you got to think about from day one, you got to invest in relationships that you have. Okay, so when you have a seller or when you have a buyer, you need to let them know that this is not just a wham bam thank you ma'am kind of thing. This is the beginning of a relationship, that you want to be their realtor for life, if you will, but you also want to be their source of referrals for anything related to their home, or maybe an ambassador to the area if these people are from out of town. Building that relationship that makes it easier to get that kind of referral where their neighbor doesn't interview other agents. They just know that you're such a great person that they want to list with you. So, keep in the mindset, that you're investing in relationships every day. So that's a little bit to review. So the natural thing when you first get in the business, it's just easier. Buyers come to you a lot easier than potential sellers. Why? Because you sort of put this vibe out that you don't really know what you're doing. So being more professional, looking more professional, speaking more professional, learning the language of real estate, having the mindset that you're confident that you know what you're doing and that you can help people, and then coming up with a great presentation is the first step to becoming a listing agent. Does anybody, on the way I'm on here, I can't really tell how many people are here. Does anybody have any questions regarding listings that I can answer for you right now?
I have a question, Beth Ann here.
Hi, Beth Ann.
Hi. So in my former career, I know the vernacular to be able to circle around a question that I don't exactly know the answer to in
Sure.
a way that's satisfactory to the buyer. So in the listing presentation in real estate speak, how would you kind of circle around that to be able to still have them be satisfied when you go to, hey, let's do the paperwork and make it official,
Well, Beth Ann, I mean, that takes me back 25 years to when I started, because I felt like the same thing. When I was in college admissions, I knew how to, if I didn't know something, I could make it look like I wasn't a total dumbass, just because I'd been around the block a few times, right? So back to my first point about, when you're first starting out, I think it's so valuable to be around other people and to maybe have Big Brother right there with you. So when I took Mike Chenault in, or Rodney Chenault was with me, then I just, I was sort of the intro guy and the easy guy, and then they came in and sort of did all that. And if anything came up like that, then I just right there, and they did it, and then I listened and learned. So when you're starting out, you don't know what you don't know. I could work with you for dozens and dozens of hours, and yet when you go on a listing appointment, something might come up that you just don't know. Understand? So the first thing I would say is maybe consider on your first couple deals bringing somebody along. Secondly, then just role play listing presentations with somebody who has a little bit of experience, and ask them to just make it as real as possible, so that you could be somewhat prepared. And then the third thing is there will be opportunities where you go and you're like, and you walk out and you're like, God, that was terrible. But then you learn, so I guess it's sort of our job as coaches and trainers and managers and whatever, to, if you come back from the field like beaten up and bruised and dirty and from getting your teeth kicked in, it's our job to sort of help, brush you off and get you back in the game, but that it's not always going to be perfect. So there will be times when you will be stumped and you will maybe crash and burn, but realize that's a learning experience, and you're just going to get back out and do better the next time. Does that help you at all?
Yes, thank you very much. I'd say I'm looking forward to getting my teeth kicked in so that I can move towards perfection, but
well, but that's part of it. I mean, people that are smart are adaptable. So if you go into something and you weren't prepared like you should be, then you're going to figure it out, but at least you'll know where to go. Right now, if you haven't been on appointments, I mean, what did you do before this?
I worked in assisted livings and managed memory care units for people with dementias.
Exactly. So there's nothing that I don't know anything about that. I mean, I would look like the biggest idiot if I went in there. I would have no idea what I'm doing. Okay. And here you are in a whole new career. So that's okay. Nobody likes to feel that way. So again, by practicing and role playing, and then when you start seeing some of these live presentations that we're going to be doing, have you looked at our YouTube channel and seen any of the listing material that we have?
Yes, not all of it, but yeah.
Okay. So that's a good start as well. That's another place to go. All right. Anyone else have a question?
Deane.
Yes,
Deane?
Suzanne.
How are you?
I'm splendid, fine, dandy, and
good.
Ready to go.
Okay, I'm super. So a question on that where, if somebody asks a question you don't know, I know one of the things I've done is I had said, I really appreciate that question. And, if it'd be okay, can I follow up with you as soon as I, get in touch with, sometimes you're with me on these appointments, but I've been able to say, I don't know that answer, but I will get it right back to you just as soon as I can. I mean, and then there's a good touch point to go back to them.
I agree. And being honest, we're never going to try to just BS an answer. I mean, there's ways to sort of beat around the bush like she was talking about, but we don't want to just come up with some lie in the presentation. What Suzanne is, the point she's making, it really does open the door to have a follow-up. If there's a question that's left unanswered, you can say, you know what, let me write that down. I don't know the answer to that question, and I'm going to find out for you, and I'm going to get right back with you. And, unless it's like, something totally stupid that you should know, then the people will probably respect that you're going to do that. Now, if everything that comes up you have to get back to them on, well, then that's one of those learning experiences, Beth Ann, where you got your teeth kicked in, and then you learn from your mistakes and your lack of knowledge. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you, Deane.
Anybody else have a question? All right. Hearing no questions, hopefully John Hicks will be here to unrecord this thing or take it off record. Thanks for your time. If you need anything, if you're shy about asking a question or whatever, you want to call me. My number is 244-1022. Feel free to do that. If Caitlin is still on this thing, she knows that at least that I will respond and try to help. And I hope, Caitlin, things are working well for you. So, what's that?
They're getting there. I got actually 2 of my leads have reached out to lending, so I'm waiting to hear back on that. And then one of the other leads is supposed to call me this weekend when his wife's back from out of town. So
good deal. You'll be making so much money. I mean, to come to you and get a loan.
I don't know, not yet, but one day hopefully it'll be that way.